رسوله ورسول الله وصحبه صلى الله عليه وسلم. Narrated by Abu Hurairah عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: دعوني ما تركتكم إنما هلك من كان قبلكم بسؤالهم واختلافهم على أنبيائهم، فإذا نهيتكم عن شيء فاجتنبوه، وإذا أمرتكم بأمر فأتوا منه ما استطعتم. أخرجه البخاري. Narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that Rasulullah said, leave me, which means the word da'uni means leave me, which means don't ask me about things which I don't mention or explain to you. As long as I leave you, for the people who were before you were ruined because of their excessive questions and their differences with their prophets. So if I forbid you from something, then keep away from it, and if I order you to do something, then do it as much as you can. Manage it Bukhari. A very comprehensive hadith of Rasulullah, which is informing us about the importance of not asking too many questions. Even in the Quran, in Surah Ma'idah, verse 101, Allah SWT says, and talks to us, the believers, people who are Muslims. Allah says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, la tas'alu an ashya in tubda lakum tasu'kum. O you believe, O you have iman, don't ask too many questions that if the answers come, if they become apparent, it will hurt you, it will harm you. Tasu'kum, meaning harm you. Similarly here in this hadith, Rasulullah is saying, Da'uni, ma taraktukum, leave me alone, meaning don't ask me extra questions from what I have given you. You know how sometimes people say, how is this, how is that? They go into the depth of it. If a order says do this, we do that. We don't go into the how of the order, where of the order, why of the order. We just follow. And that is why we are the Ummah of Muhammad Sallallahu, because the first generation Muslims, they were prime example. Sami'na wa ata'na. Sami'na means we hear, ata'na we obey. We don't sami'na and then su'al and then ata'na. And the example of this, who can tell me? There's a story in the Quran that Allah talks about a qawm who did not listen to their prophet and they kept asking him questions. What's that story? Baqarah. Bani Israel. Musa alayhi salam told Bani Israel, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tadhbahu baqarah. Allah tells you or orders you to sacrifice a cow. They replied back to Musa alayhi salam, Atattakhiduna huzuwan? You are making fun of us, O Musa. You're mocking at us. We're asking you about to solve a problem because they came to him with the problem. And so in return, he said, Allah is telling me to order you to sacrifice a cow. If they simply went to go and sacrifice a cow, end of story. But what did they do? As we see in the 7 ayats in Surah Baqarah, from 67 onwards, they asked Musa alayhi salam, what kind of cow? What size of cow? What color of cow? What brand of cow? And each time they asked questions to Musa alayhi salam asked Allah. Allah gave another restriction, another limitation. So when we ask too many questions, then of course the answer will bring restriction. And that's what Rasulullah is saying, Da'uni, leave me alone. Don't ask me too many questions about the things that I did not tell you or did not inform you about, which means that it's permissible. Because if you pester, the main thing here in this hadith that Rasulullah is saying is, don't pester me too many questions. Similarly, there's an ayah in the Quran in Surah Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. And then Allah says, وَلَا يَجِدُ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ حَرَجًا مِمَّا قَضَيْتَ. Amazing ayah, beautiful ayah. Surah Nisa, Allah talking about in the Medina, especially about the hypocrites. Hypocrites, munafiqeen, they would ask Rasulullah a question, he would give them the answer, you should do this, and then they make jidal. You know jidal? Debate. Why this or this? It happens a lot of times in our society also. People come to an imam, they come to a sheikh, they say, Imam, sheikh, I have this mas'ala. Okay, what's your mas'ala? Okay, you should do this. Now they're going to make jidal, argument with the imam. It's in general term I'm talking. I'm not talking about this masjid. I'm talking in general term. Ask any imam of any masjid, the number one thing they'll tell you is people argue. First they come and ask, and then when the imam give answer, then they argue. So why you came to me asking in the first place? You know, sometimes the imam feels frustrated. You know, buzz off, bozo, don't even come, don't even bother. You don't want to listen to what I'm telling you, why are you even asking me? That's exactly what Allah is saying in this ayah in Surah Nisa. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ, Allah is swearing, I swear by your Lord, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَلَا وَرَبِّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, they don't truly believe in you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ فِي مَا شَجَرَ بِهِمْ. Shajara means dispute, argument, alright, disagreement, issues, mas'ala, mushkila. So Allah is saying, until they make you as a hakim, hukum, they ask you to solve the mas'ala, you solve it for them. You give them a hukum, Ya Rasulullah. So Allah is saying they will not be true believers until they implement the rule you gave them. And then after implementing, they don't feel in their heart, وَلَا يَجِدُونَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ حَرَجٍ. Haraj means disturbance. Haraj means any kind of disgruntlement. Haraj also means any kind of uneasy feeling. That okay, Imam Sahib, if you say I'll do it, but my heart is not into it. So you are not obeying wholeheartedly to the Imam or the Shaykh or that. And that's why the people at that time, many of the munafiqeen, they would not wholeheartedly, full of their heart, implement something that Rasulullah would tell them. So in khulasa, in conclusion, what we are learning here in these two ayats from Surah Ma'idah and Surah Nisa, and from this hadith of Rasulullah is what he said at the end of the hadith. He says, وَمَا أَتَاكُمْ فَخُذُوهُ وَمَا نَهَيْتُمْ عَنْهُ فَانْتَهُوا فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. Whatever I told you don't do, don't ask me too many questions why we shouldn't do it, what's the wisdom, what's the hikmah behind it. Just stay away from it. And whatever I told you to do, don't ask me what's the result of this, what's the production of this, or what's the benefit of this. I told you to do it, go do it. And that is how the Sahaba, the first generation of Muslims were. Whatever Rasulullah told them to do, they would do. Whatever he told them to stay away, he would stay away from. And that is the obedience of Allah. That is the meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. It's very hard. It's very hard to kill your ego, to subdue your ego. It's very hard to control your nafs and implement the rule that comes from the Quran and Sunnah. Because sometimes we are human beings. Sometimes we feel like I want the answer from the Imam and Shaykh which I want the answer to be. But obviously the deen is not customized to our desires, our wish and will. Deen is very clear. The Quran and Sunnah is very clear. So we cannot expect an answer that would be in line with what our ego wants. This is the meaning of aslim taslim. This is the meaning of surrendering your will. What does it mean, surrender your will to Allah? Surrender your ego to Allah. When Allah and His Messenger say, do something, we kill our ego, we subdue it, and we follow it. We don't bring our ego in between and say, no, I don't feel like doing this. And there are so many Muslims in the world today who are not implementing Islam 100%. You know, we all, including myself, we are choosy and picky and choosy. We implement some things of Islam and some things we don't implement. And then, why is that happening? Because we have not fully, 100% submitted to the will of Allah and the will of Rasulullah. The day we are able to do that, our iman will be elevated. Our rank and status with Allah will be elevated. And that's what He said, I left behind with you two things, Al-Quran and the Sunnah, my Sunnah. As long as you hold on to it, in one hadith it says, as long as you hold on to it with your molar teeth, عَضُّ عَلَيْهَا بِالنَّوَاجِزِ. That's the hadith that says, hold on to the Quran and hold on to the my Sunnah, also saying, with your molar teeth. You know, this molar teeth is the most powerful teeth. We have two molar teeth, every human being has. This is the teeth that you use to crush bones. You know, some people, they like to chew bone, because this is very powerful teeth. So Rasulullah gave the example of this teeth in the hadith, that just like you use these two, and nawajis, just like you use these two teeth so powerfully to hold on to something, hold on to the Quran and Sunnah. Don't leave it. Don't lose it. Don't let it go, because then you will be lost. You will be bewildered. You'll be all over the place and not realize. So may Allah give us tawfiq to follow the Sunnah. May Allah give us tawfiq to not argue against the Sunnah of Rasulullah and the Quran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We also make dua for Brother Saad Tariq Ahmed, who has sponsored our food today from